Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of this new Planet Coaster Let's Build series. And as I said in the last episode, I plan on calling this Wind Rush. At the point of me starting to film this episode, it is 2 days before the first one is being released. I just know I want to try to stay ahead of schedule with this and make sure that I have an episode coming out each week. But as you can see, this is what we worked on and completed in the last episode. So now we're going to work on the actual park and the actual other side of these entrance gates. And so this is kind of like the last time. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of what I'm planning on completing this series, which I need to delete that ride, by the way. But what I'm planning on doing this series is, or this episode, sorry, is we're going to complete this kind of building here. We're going to have another building over here, and then I don't know if I'm gonna do it on both sides or just one side, but there's gonna be kind of a smaller, because in Carowinds they got a little small like souvenir shop here, and I might do it on both sides where it's just kind of like a quick food place, one food, maybe one drink, um, and then it's to kind of hide the service road that goes underneath the path here, so there'll be a little bit of a bridge. And then on this other side, I'm going to have this is where the road or the park's going to kind of split into going to the different areas. And I want to have, at least my first thought is having our first ride be a little bit elevated off the ground and be one of those swinging swings because I think those just give just a beautiful kind of look and display to, kind of when you enter the park. So that's what I plan on doing. So I will see you at the first update. Now, as we actually enter the park, we are going to have another guest services building here on the left. And, this is not finished. I don't know if I'm going to keep this building style, but I wanted it to kind of differ from what we've seen right here. Just kind of almost now that we're entering the park, it's, um, building style is going to change just a little bit. So, obviously a lot more detailing to do here. And I've got to do my pushchair rentals. I've got to do that if you've seen my previous couple parks. Um, my UK friends rubbing off on me, calling it pushchair. And I think what I'm going to do is if I continue this kind of molding going around, I'm going to change it to the other color I've been using a little bit, which is like this burgundy color. Those are kind of a couple of the main colors I've been using. And I put down this. I just found this excuse me, this stone balcony support to kind of create a base or like a not a base, but kind of a border between the two sections. And I need to put something here in the center. Need to have a centerpiece. Don't know what I'm going to do yet with that. And then this building is going to be lockers. So I'm modeling the building off a building that I saw on the PC version. And so I'll probably put like a couple vending machines in here or something just to kind of make guests kind of be walking in and out. So I might like hide a vending machine in the locker or something like that. So we'll see. But definitely going to, I don't want to take up too much of the piece count using those lockers, so we'll kind of see about that. And then here, it's just be another little backstage area. Like I said, I haven't really fleshed this area out yet because I don't know fully how it's going to look in the grand scheme of the park. But man, that looks beautiful right there. And then I think this view here looks awesome. So like if you're a guest right here walking, so I don't want to block the height of that view, being able to see the turnaround. I think that's really cool. And so you can see I've started trying to see like what details I could use to kind of detail the building a little bit. So we'll obviously work on that as this is the cast stone trim. And then here, I'm going to actually make this building, and you'll see that on the next update what the building is going to look like. But at Carowinds, they've got, before this walkway where you've got the kind of like an employee drive to get from both sides of the park, they've got this little small kind of shop right here. And so I'm just going to custom make the building out of art pieces because it's literally just going to be like the size of this. Like it's not much at all. And then I carried over the fencing and the pathing from the previous part just to kind of tie it together. And excuse me, man, this cough just won't go away. And one thing too is adding in a lot of these trees kind of hides a lot of the line of sight of stuff that you don't want the guests to see. And so I'll probably put some more trees there just to kind of block that off. And then then you come this way, and in real life, Carowinds actually has like these banners kind of hanging over here, like advertising stuff, so that the guests aren't necessarily looking down and seeing the employee road. But we can't do that. But what I am doing is I've kind of leveled this out to the best that I can. Trying to work with the terrain, and then just using the terrain paint to. And I did check. You could fit 2 lorries or 2 trucks side by side here. It's not perfect, not ideal, but it looks fairly flat from a distance. So you know, it's not perfect, but it's a lot of times in theme parks these roads for employees aren't perfect, right? Um, so it's just about being able to get the staff from this area of the park to this area and so forth. You see, I've kind of started playing with the elevation changes a little bit in terms of maybe what I'd be trying to work on. And so here, the reason why I have separated this path like this is this portion is going to be using this wall piece again, or flooring, and I'm going to have a building on either side that kind of, like this one is probably going to be a food place that lines up with the kind of pathing, and I'm going to have some chairs and stuff sitting outside for the guests to kind of eat at and stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to make an interior or if I'm just going to make the building facade with a couple doorways of entry for guests to go in and get food and so forth. But I need to have a couple rides in this general area for the guests to be able to actually utilize that spot. And so here, I don't know, I am going to build another building similar to that, but I just don't know if it's going to be more just like a for show building or if it's actually going to serve a purpose. But then I love the chair swings. I just think they look so amazing. How they did in this game. It looks kind of majestic. I'll probably put some rocks here, kind of hiding the height here a little bit. And yeah, so that's the starting to try to work with the elevation, because what I wanted to kind of have is a mixture of with like Six Flags Over Georgia, how when you walk in and you get up the main street, the main walkway, you then just kind of basically see trees right behind here, so you can't visibly see like anything else in the park. So then you got to determine, am I going left or going right? And so it kind of hides, at least from guest view. We might be able to see it from overhead view, but from guest view, you really can't see what else is behind there in the park. Because like behind there at Six Flags Over Georgia would be basically the Goliath lift hill, which is a hyper coaster, and then you got Superman way in the background. But it's like all that stuff's hidden because it's such a hilly park. And I put a merry-go-round here. I don't know if this one I'm going to keep, but my thought was, one thing Carowinds does is they have a lot of their flat rides that back up the maintenance areas. What they do is they just put some wooden fencing kind of around the back portion of it. And so I'm still trying to figure out how I want this park to look, but I'm pretty happy overall with the general layout of it. And so my thought here is that this would lead to the kids area. And so that will probably be the next episode that I work on, is the kids area in the park with the junior coaster and so forth. And so I just got to work on how I want this to kind of align with, this back area that's going to have some maintenance roads and so forth. Because I'm probably going to have a maintenance road come in. If I were to think about, okay, where would a road come in for the main drive here, I'd probably have it go this way and then kind of cut in between the coaster here, would be my guess. Yeah, and then this, so you're going to have like a fork in the road essentially, where you can choose to go to the kids area or you can choose to kind of go to the other area of the park. And I want to kind of elevate this portion here, and not necessarily that the coaster is going to be elevated, but just that we're kind of starting to work with some elevating terrain and so forth. Now, the terrain back here, for whenever we get back to the Fury 325 style area, that part's going to be level as it is, but I think it'd be kind of cool to have this general area. You got an ascension to get there and a descension. I said that weird, but you know what I'm saying. You got some elevation changes to get up to this point, and so that'd be kind of cool. And it's also kind of cool too to, whenever this area be done, kind of visually just to look up and see that 300-foot coaster. So that's my general thought here. So I'm going to work on this a little bit more, and I will see you guys on the next update. So this is really, really coming together, and I'm not completely done with even the layout of everything so far, but I wanted to go ahead and update because I'm really happy with kind of how stuff's turned around. And I want to say first off too, I did get a new mic for Christmas, And so I've been kind of learning about the mic levels and stuff. I forget what this was called. Just got it off Amazon. So if the mic at any point has seemed a little bit quiet or whatever, it's because I'm trying to kind of learn with it and stuff. But first off, I decided to. I did not like how the brick looked. I tried changing colors. I just did not like it, and so I went ahead and got rid of the brick. And I am using this, continuing the same kind of stucco. But what I did decide to do was switch the colors of the trim and switch up the type of trim to kind of make it a little bit more nice and stuff like that. And the reason why I switched the colors is because I wanted to kind of match this kind of maroon, kind of burgundy, like darker red color, which was kind of the secondary part of the park. And so I'll probably kind of have, I'll probably end up doing this, the stucco as well over here, and I'll probably keep this portion up here, but I'll probably change that. As you can see, we're on 25%. So I mean, we're, this is gonna be tough to fit everything in the park. And one thing I want to show real quick is I was checking lighting and time, and oh my gosh, like how beautiful, and I'm not trying to just brag or anything, 'cause that's not, I just mean how beautiful does that Giga coaster look with that. Let's see. No, it's the right at 7 o'clock. My goodness, that is just beautiful with how the sun's rising. Oh my gosh, there are just some moments in this game that are just, I could look at it all day. And I still got to do lighting. Still need to do lighting in the other areas. So hopefully I'll remember to do that this episode. Because as I said, lighting and stuff is one thing I just don't like doing. And I might get rid of these benches here, and the reason is I tried to place, like, look, if I, because of how the path's set up, if I wanted it to be uniform on each side, but the issue is that it's either there or there, and it just doesn't look good if it's not uniform. And so I need to get rid of that, and so I'll probably get rid of these benches here. And I'm trying to figure out kind of what I want the coloring of this base to be. I'll probably end up just going with like a gray or just kind of a basic color, or trying to maybe match this. And I got a little water splash there, and then it's just something to kind of have a design, put some flowers and stuff around this, just as the guests walk in to the park. And so guest services, and because we're already at 25%. So as you can see, I kind of carried this style around, and like I said, I am going to put all the backstage stuff that I normally do with the wires and cables and stuff. I've made the executive decision to, instead of decking out the interior, but one thing I can actually do to save a piece is do that. Believe me, every piece matters. So one thing I'm going to do, I made the decision to do, is to basically just put a large rectangle, gray rectangle over the doors and stuff. And the reason is, which I can actually get rid of this, is I doubled that up. The reason I'm doing this is just simply because it's, that would just take a lot to decorate the interior, and that'd maybe add another 1, maybe 2%. And so I could always come back at the end and add more stuff to this, but I just thought that for the sake of the park and stuff, that would be best to, for the sake of the counter, just to not allow it to be visibly to go inside. Now I might put something in here where the guests are able to walk into it and stuff, so I probably will end up doing that just to kind of get some movement in and out of it. But then I have the push chairs here, the strollers that I've used. I tried to color it the burgundy red. It kind of came out a little bit more red than I was thinking it would. But then we've got the Wind Rush gifts, and if anybody's been to Carowinds or seen images of kind of the entrance area, they've got something like this on each side. And so these are all just basic art shapes. And if you want to see, like I said before, where I got the idea for some of this stuff from, just go to Google Maps, go to the entrance, walk around in person view, and you can kind of get an idea of some of the building styles. And so Windrush Beverage, and this one is gifts, and it also kind of gives a line of sight that kind of blocks the area down here. So as you can see, I've started to fill this out a little bit more. I don't want to put too much here, but as you can see, just trying to make it to where it's got foliage to where the guests are not going to be able to visibly look down and see um, into that kind of maintenance area. And as I said before, in real life, they've actually got banners and advertisements and stuff hanging here, um, but we don't have that obviously. And then now we've got this swinging swing, and I've just put a lot of foliage around it. Sometimes I tend to maybe do too much with foliage, so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. And as always, even if I'm like a week ahead in building, if you guys offer up an idea that I'm like, oh man, that's a really great idea, I can always go back and change that because at the end of the day, I want to get better. And if anybody gives me opinions or insights that will help me improve and get better, I'm all for it. So love to hear thoughts. As you can see, I started placing benches, so I'm gonna put some kind of like food place here. And for the time being, these probably will not, since they're going to be larger scale, these two buildings, they're probably not going to be walk-in for us. It's probably more just going to be for show. But I do really like how this area is coming together. As you can see, I've kind of started where I think the employee road will go to. Because obviously there's going to be stuff back here. I'll maybe put a couple parking spots and I'll put some doors and different stuff. And I obviously still need to change a wind rush because it's one word, not two. But yeah, I really, really enjoy that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on building, and I'll see you guys on the next update.
All right, I have spent a lot of time over the past maybe day and a half to 2 days now working on this because, as I said at the beginning of this series, I really want to try to get better with terrain work and my detailing on buildings. And as I showed you, as we talked about before with these locker buildings, I just went ahead and put lockers in, and so we have lockers for the guests. But what I'm really super excited about, and we'll kind of go through, I'll kind of do a refresher on how this park looks like now and flip cam mode and stuff in a second. But yeah, I started putting some of that realism stuff around, some wiring and stuff like that. But I am just so stoked at how this ended up turning out right here. So now as we walk over the bridge, we got those flags, you got that in the background. And now we have a new building. And so there are a couple stalls in here just to have guests be able to walk in and make it look like they're accessing it. Although this one's a vending machine, so I don't know how much people actually use the vending machines. Um, so I think yeah, it is. I think it's connected to it. Um, then I got a staff door on the other side. But first off, we have a priority pass here, and I modeled it after Cedar Fair prices and stuff like that. So fast lane $55 and Fastlane Plus. And so for anybody who hasn't been to a Cedar Fair, they've got two different levels of Fast Pass, which is funny that I'm doing this because I'm not actually going to put Fast Passes on the coasters, just because really messes with the counter when you have to do a 2 meter path. Um, but they'll have like certain coasters you only get with Fast Pass Plus, like at Kings Island, Mystic Timbers, and Orion, which are the two newest coasters you don't get with the normal Fast Pass. Um, Cedar Point, I think it's probably Steel Vengeance. I forget the ones, but I'm sure it's Steel Vengeance and a couple other ones. But yeah, and then Fast Lane Season Pass, $150, and I did the trick that I've done before of putting the stall in there, and then this would be kind of a maintenance area, and so we've got kind of the back here. And I haven't really fledged out what this could be like yet because I don't know what that part of the park is going to necessarily look like. And then we got another staff door there. And so this, in theory, would be like some food places and stuff like that. Yeah, really, I just colored the windowsills white. I think what I really love is I love the dual kind of pathing, and then I got this. I basically modeled this after another building at Carowinds. I'm gonna try to get it as exact as I could. But man, I love the having the having that little garden area. I think that just kind of works. It kind of adds to the detail of it. And so, super happy with that one. And over here we got the carousel. I think we've looked at this a little bit. and just kind of. One thing I've noticed with a lot of theme parks too is their flat rides. If it backs up to maintenance area, they basically just have a big fence there, and so they're that's what I tried doing, kind of hiding it with some trees. And oh, there goes the Giga Coaster. Then we got the chair swing, and then over here we've got another small building with gelato and coffee. And so this is accessible as well inside this way. And then out here I have a seating area. I might change up those benches because those are the adventure style benches, and this is not necessarily a adventure themed area of the park. But I tried to go more detail with this, and like I said, once again, I modeled this after buildings that are at Carowinds, and it's not the exact same, especially this one on the left. The one on the right, I tried to get it as close to it as possible. I might end up putting some white trim on the edge there, um, but I'm super super happy with how this turned out, just because this is an area that I need to improve on, and so I feel like doing this, I definitely improved on it, and then adding a little planter area here in the middle. And I actually have. Wait, hold on. Let's see if I can click on it. Wait, where is it at? Because I put a bench in here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, there we go. I was like, I'm not crazy, am I? Yeah, I put a bench in there, and so the guests are going to perfect timing. Come sit down. It looks like they're just sitting on that little ledge. And so that's kind of a trick you can use, is to place stuff over the bench. The issue is the bench is wider than this piece, and so that's why I have um, the mulch and stuff so close to the edge of it. Yeah, so now let's look at this and let's see how the park's looking in first person mode. Let's. She looks like she's gonna have a fun time at the park. So we got Plip Cam. All right, let's get the HUD off the screen. So we've seen this part, like we know what this looks like. I mean, still just really happy with how this coaster has turned out. And then, so now we walk through the entrance. Oh yeah, and remember, I renamed this Wildwinds. So I have changed that sign up there, the lettering and stuff. And we are going to name the oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting the name of what it was before, but that's gonna become the name of the coaster. I'll have to try to remember that. So remember, we got guest services, we got pushchair rental, and so here the thing that I had to do was, I believe I mentioned this before, just kind of trying to trick the guest in a sense of, I mean, guests can walk through, but I covered that up with a rectangular shape just because I didn't want to use up all the piece count kind of decorating the inside. So I was kind of lazy on that. Now we got the lockers over here. This is just really coming together. I'm really happy with this. Especially, I love that chair swing. Like, that is just such a cool look. So now we get to see this building, and it's really cool how when you zoom in this mode, it's like it enhances the graphics too, or something. Really cool. Gelato and coffee. And so one little thing I did here to kind of give it that kind of dimension is I just used a 2 meter scaffolding post, and then I actually used a 2 meter stucco wall, and kind of pushed it out just a bit to where it kind of creates a sign. And so I just went ahead and used the same color as the wall, as I didn't. But I could always change the color on that if you guys think another color would work better. Feel free to let me know. And now we get to see the Giga Coaster. And I think the views in this park are just going to be amazing of that coaster. And those supports, I think everything so far has turned out better than I kind of expected, to be honest. And that's not saying I didn't think I couldn't do this, but it's just I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. And so now my idea for the next episode is going to be starting to work in this area here. And so my thought with this would be kind of the kids area of the park, because it just, to me, I think it kind of works best. And I know maybe the fact that it's kind of by this large coaster isn't the best, but the idea is that I don't want to have another coaster or anything in this area that really blocks the line of sight to that coaster, especially coming from this direction. Like, I just think the it's just majestic with how it is, and so I didn't want that to be an issue. And so yeah, that's the next thing. Now, one thing I do want to point out on here is that um, I changed the friction because Themed Thrills, I think that's who it was. I'm so sorry if that's not who it was. Mentioned maybe turn down the friction just a tad bit to have it go just a little bit quicker throughout the layout. I also smoothed this part out a little bit more because I realized when I was looking at it again that it kind of whips a little bit too much, and nothing else in this ride has that kind of whip to it. So let's go ahead and ride this one more time as we get ready to end the episode. So now we reached the end of the episode, and I hope everybody has had a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. As always, it's greatly appreciated. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. See you next time.